This is polynomial functions and in behavior with Sophie. So we're going to start with evaluating the expression, and then we'll do in behavior. So right here I have my expression is negative 6x to the fourth minus 11x cubed minus 2x squared, 2x plus 2x squared minus x plus 7 at x equals negative 1. So whenever x equals negative 1, we have to plug in negative 1 for all of our x values. So right here, right here, right here, and right here. Okay, so let's do that real quick. So because I have a negative, I want to be really careful with my signs. So I'm going to use parentheses to make sure that I don't mess up my signs. Oops. Okay. So negative 1 will go in all these parentheses here. So right here, right here, right here, and right here. Alright, so we're going to start from the left and work our way right. And whenever I multiply, whenever I have a negative to the power of an even number, that'll give me a positive. So let's do that real quick. So negative 1 times negative 1 equals positive 1. So that's 1, 2 times negative 1 gives me negative 1. That's 3 times negative 1 equals positive 1. Okay? This works for all negative numbers, but because I'm working with negative 1, I showed you negative 1. Okay, so I have positive 1 still times negative 6x minus 11, and here I have a odd, so that'll make this negative. So I have negative 1 here. Okay. So then plus 2, here this is even, so that'll make this positive. Okay. So right now you should have negative 6 times 1 minus 11 times negative 1 plus 2 times negative 1. Okay? And right here, wrong color. Right here, we have to distribute that negative inside, so that gives me a positive. So I have positive 1. Okay? That's just plus 1. Okay? And of course we have plus 7. Alright, so we should combine like terms right here, so that gives me 8. That's plus 8. And we'll start over here. Negative 6 times 1 gives me negative 6. Negative 11 times negative 1 gives me positive 11. Positive 2 times negative 1 gives me negative 2. Oops, I'm sorry. Okay, this should be a positive because we multiplied by, or we had the power of an even. So this should be a positive. It's positive 2. All right. So now we should combine all of our values, and this is what we're looking for the evaluated expression. Okay. So 2 plus 8 gives me 10. So right here and right here. Negative 6 plus 11 gives me 5. So 5 plus 10 equals 15. And that is our evaluated expression. Okay, take a minute to pause the video and write that down. Alright, so next we're going to do in behavior. And our in behavior equation will look something, it can look like anything, but this is just going to be a simpler version of it. So we have x minus x to the fourth power plus 2x squared minus 2x minus 2. Okay? So the end behavior is how the graph is going to look as x gets closer to positive infinity, as x gets closer to negative infinity. So the end behavior is describing y and how it looks whenever it gets closer to positive infinity or negative infinity. So it can either go up or down on both sides. Alright, this is just a simple example of it. Alright. So for negative infinity, we want to plug in a negative number because that makes most sense. No, because it's on the negative side, so that's representing negative. So we have a -1 and a +1. And -1 and +1 are always the easiest ones to do, so I recommend them. So here we have negative. We plug in 1 for all of our x's, okay? Because we're describing how x works. So once we plug all those in, we just have to solve, and that'll be our answer. Okay? So I have positive here. So that's how does that relate to positive infinity? So your answer would look something like x equals positive infinity, f of x equals positive or negative infinity. So let's solve this. 1 to the 4th power is just 1. And we have negative. 2 to the 2nd power is just 1, or 1 to the 2nd power is just 1. Then we have times 2. Don't forget to distribute these inside. We have times 2, so that's +1. We have minus 2. Distribute that inside. That gives me -2. So minus 2, then minus 2. Okay? So now we have to solve that, and we'll get our end behavior. So +2 and -2, these two cancel out. Okay? So then I have -1 minus 2 gives me -3. So as x gets closer to positive infinity, f of x equals negative infinity. Okay? So as we get closer this way on the graph, y will go down. Okay? Take a minute to write that down. We're going to do the second part next, which is negative infinity. So we're going to plug in -1. So make sure you use your parentheses because they are very, very helpful. And plug in all that you're missing. Then -2. Sorry, ran out of room. Okay. So -1, -1, -1. Remember what I said about multiplying or having the power of an odd or an even with a negative number? So here I have the power of an even also here. So we don't have to worry about odds. So these all equal +1. It's +1. Except for -2. So next we have the parentheses. This, whenever you multiply this out, this gives you a +2, okay? So we're going to go ahead and multiply that out. So here we can combine like terms early, and that just cancels out. So we don't have to worry about those two. Here, here we distribute the negative into the 1, we distribute the 2 into the 1. So it gives me -1 plus 2 equals +1. So as x gets closer to negative infinity, f of x will equal positive infinity. So let me show you what that'll look like on the graph. That means the graph will go this way. Okay? And that's the end-to-end behavior. If you want to write that down real quick or pause the video. Next I'll be doing 12.2, which is polynomial long division. So thank you for watching.